Right then, other sexy stuff, AJ, and I suppose slightly not as sexy as it could have been because we thought we were getting a Spanish striker on loan from Como, whose nickname is the Shark, Ivan Azon. But then McKenna gave us a bit of an update yesterday. There's also a Norwegian winger he was asked about. So do you want to bring us up to speed on those?
Yeah, straight through those. Ivan Azon, we've spoken about him a little bit before. Since we last did a podcast, it was reported that Ivan Azon was on his way to Ipswich. Wow, that came from nowhere, considering that it kind of looked like that initial report was dead in the water, but then it was on. It was on. And then it was confirmed actually by Como manager Cesc Fabregas, who said he's on his way to Ipswich. And we expect that deal to get done. They wanted to keep him as well. He'd signed in February. He'd had an injury. And then at the back end of last season, he just didn't play because Como weren't in a position to integrate a new player while they were A, in very good form, and B, still trying to avoid relegation. They've gone and signed Alvaro Morata, who's quite a good, well-established top-level striker, which leaves us on kind of questioning his future. He'd obviously gone over to Ipswich and something there seems to have kind of stalled this deal. Kieran McKenna said there's been no progress and we don't expect him to be a player that will sign for us this transfer window. I know that people will look into the phrasing. He said, don't expect, doesn't mean that he won't. And this transfer window doesn't mean that it can't happen in the future. Why that's happened, we're not entirely sure. There's been previous reports that he's been more keen to go elsewhere. Valencia has kind of been reported as his preference. But that hasn't happened. So he's kind of in a bit of limbo going into the last couple of weeks. We'll wait and see if there is any more that the Ipswich could do to convince him to sign. But as things stand, I think they'll go and look at other targets, which they need because they need a bit more attacking depth. And one of the players they have been looking at is, I need to get my notes up properly for this, Sindre Walle Egeli.
Nice.
Probably butchered that. We'll go with it.
Who's he play for?
He plays for Nordsjælland. Now, I don't know if I've got that right. Stu put this to Kieran McKenna yesterday, and while Kieran did not directly say that he was a player of interest, just said he's another team's player, and we're not going to comment. Fair enough, Kieran. We know what the game is. He did correct Stu on his pronunciation, and then corrected Stu on I can't remember if it was where the club's from or where he's from. Right. Either way, it kind of indicates to me that the fact that he was correcting Stu on these bits, there's probably at least interest and at least some talks going on for this player. This one came from Tipsbladet, nailed it, who are a publication in Denmark. So he's a Norwegian youngster. He's moved over to Denmark to play for Nordsjælland. He's 19 years old, which means as well that he won't count towards any squad limits in the championship. Big positive that. And he's impressed playing over in Denmark to the extent that he looks like already after quite a short spell over there, he could be one of the biggest sales, not only in the team's history, but in the country's entire history. If you're looking at the fee that's been reported, which is up to 20 million euros, so that's just over 17 million pounds. There was interest from PSV Eindhoven. I think there's been some other teams sniffing around. He's kind of a fast, direct runner, but also one that likes to cut inside as well. Finishing looks a little bit hit and miss, but a lot of the physical attributes, a lot of the pace and things like that. But there's kind of natural comparisons you can make with Amari Hutchinson. So it looks like if they were to do this move, it'd be a Hutchinson replacement. But it's exciting, isn't it? Because this is kind of the Brighton recruitment model that we've heard about for so long and hasn't really happened with Ipswich. They're looking abroad. We're looking at names that we don't know and we have to Google and we have to watch YouTube highlight clips of. And definitely a 19-year-old winger playing in Denmark is one of those. And for a fee like that, it raises some alarm bells, not necessarily negative ones, excited ones, cautious ones. But to see Ipswich linked with players like this is new territory for us, I think.